I was born in 1961. I am 64 years old. I have been lifting weights for over 50 years. And my God, has the science of strength training changed over those years. When I started lifting back in the 70s, strength training and weightlifting were frowned upon, if not actively discouraged. They were considered an indulgence of ego, something that would leave you a broken down wreck by your 30s, at which point all of your muscle was going to turn to fat. A lot of coaches advised against lifting weights. They said that it would make you slow and muscle bound, and it certainly wasn't thought of as healthy. Back then, running was the big thing, and running and runners were the CrossFit and CrossFitters of the day. They would often stand there in their tiny little shorts and their pick chicken legs and say, "Oh yeah, you might be strong and you got all those muscles, but what I'm doing is healthy." Which was particularly ironic considering one of the people who was most responsible for promoting running, Jim Fixx, he wrote a book about it, not that I read it. Jim Fixx died of a heart attack in his 50s. Doing what? Running. These days, the science of strength has completely turned around. Weightlifting doesn't destroy or damage your body. It builds your body and increases your muscle mass, maintains your strength, which means you will be stronger, healthier, and more capable in your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, your 60s, your 70s, as far as you want to go. The athletic benefits are so broadly and widely accepted that weightlifting and strength training are essentially compulsory for athletes. Weightlifting helps improve body composition. When you're building that muscle, you're creating a bigger motor, and that bigger motor needs more energy, and more energy means less fat, especially visceral body fat, which is extremely dangerous, extremely bad for you. The visceral body fat is around your internal organs. It's like inside your body. Weightlifting does some things you can't see other than that. For instance, improve your blood sugar, because your muscles are basically blood sugar sponges, and they make it much easier for your body to control your blood sugar, which reduces insulin resistance and helps with diabetes as well. Weightlifting improves mental health. It reduces depression, anxiety, and increases self-esteem. And that last one should kind of be, obvious when you think about it a little bit. If you're doing something that's making you physically more capable and physically more attractive, of course you're going to start feeling better about yourself, which is why weightlifting is the real body positivity. Weightlifting increases cognitive function. You're not just building your body, you're building your brain, which kind of shoots down all those dumb jock musclehead stereotypes. In fact, it has such a profound impact on your cognitive function that a lot of medical professionals are recommending weightlifting as a way to resist and combat Alzheimer's. As for the one I'm going to gloat about, that came from the American Heart Association a few years ago, when they changed their position on weightlifting, came up with a new position paper in 2023 saying that weightlifting is as good for your heart and overall health as cardio. Everything I've just gone over is awesome. It is proof that weightlifting and strength training are the best thing you can do for yourself. They're not just for your body, but your whole being. What it doesn't do is answer the question, what does the science of strength bring to the gym? What practical application does it contribute in terms of sets, reps, exercises, and intensity? What does it contribute? Nothing. Nothing at all. It was back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s that weightlifting and strength training were figured out. Back then, there was no science of strength, and whatever science was around really had a negative view of strength training. But guys were lifting anyways, and they were learning from their experience and sharing their experience with each other. It was from that knowledge of collective experience that a practical understanding of weightlifting and strength training was developed. This book is an example of that. It was written in 1978 by Terry Todd. It's just a bunch of, at the time, high-level international powerlifters going over their routines, their diets, and everything else. There's no frills. It's completely unadorned, and it's as good as anything out there today. The modern science of strength has done nothing more but copy this information, add a few bells and whistles, and attach the label science. The fact is, strength training is pretty simple. There are only a few basic rules. Number one, pick good exercises. Multi-joint, compound lifts like squats or bench press, rows, maybe even deadlifts. Number 2, lift heavy if you want strength. Use lighter weights with more volume, more reps if you want size. Number 3, whether you lift light, whether you lift heavy, you have to put in genuine effort over time to progress. How much depends on your experience and goals. There's a fairly broad range that'll work, but a good guideline is that you want to leave the gym feeling a little bit beat up, but not so bad that you couldn't do it again in a few days. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, you're just old school. There's all kinds of new information out there. Well, yeah, I am old school. And I have been looking for that new information since I first picked up a weight. I still am. I actually went and got certified by the National Strength and Conditioning Association. I also got certified by USA Weightlifting. I still have my National Strength and Conditioning Association training manual. You know what I got out of that? Nothing. Everything I learned, I already knew. Now, you might say, well, you're exaggerating. Well, this article just came out recently, and it's by a guy with a master's in exercise science. And he's saying these are all the exercises you need to do for strength. Does that list look familiar to you? It looks familiar to me. It's what I've been doing since I was a teenager. One of my most important rules is show me, don't tell me. I have listened to so much Gym Bro and other forms of bullshit. I want to see results before I think of listening to anyone. That's why I always start and end my videos with, this is what I look like and this is what I lift like. Adding science to whatever you're saying doesn't make it any more valuable or any more credible. Now, maybe when I start seeing science-trained athletes outperforming knowledge of collective experience trained athletes, I'll start listening. Until then, I'm going to say, congratulations, science, for finally figuring out how awesome weightlifting is, and keep doing what I've been doing for the last 50 plus years. Enjoy the video? Let me know. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe.